Hi, it's Steve back again, this time to show you Office 365 under Hub. I'm already logged in, you can see at the top here. If you want to see a demonstration of how to log in, then take a look at my previous video. But today we want to look at Office 365, and Office 365 gives us access to Microsoft's popular Office suite of applications while you're online and inside of your web browser. But as I'll show you later, we can also download Office 365 to be used offline if your internet connection is a little bit patchy, or perhaps you find these web-based applications a little bit slow on your home machine. Now, although lots of people are going to be familiar with Microsoft Office from work and home use, let's run through the main applications that we're likely and typically will want to use. And this is going to be typically the first 5 here. Outlook is an email client, so it's useful for communicating with your child's teacher. OneDrive is for file storage. Any documents that we end up creating, perhaps in Word or PowerPoint, etc., will be saved in here. Word is, well, it's a word processor useful for writing documents. Excel is a spreadsheet useful for lots of maths, creating graphs and analyzing data and so on. And PowerPoint is good for creating class presentations. And these are the applications that I'll be taking a brief look at today, and it is going to be only brief. Each is so featureful that a full tutorial on any one of them would really need its own series. I'll just point out some useful features, tips, tricks, and the odd potential surprise as we go through them. Now, looking at some of the other applications that are available in here before we move on, Teams could potentially be useful going forward. It's a way for multiple people to collaborate together using video conferencing, text-based chat, and file sharing. Think of a virtual classroom in the current context, but might be better suited to older children. Clicking on all apps, we can see that there's actually quite a few more. Stream and video, well, think of these as a sort of private YouTube. Whiteboard is quite fun. It provides a potentially shared drawing board for us to doodle on. So we can doodle away, and other users who are logged in as well can potentially doodle on it as well at the same time. As for Power Apps, Power Automate and Dynamics and the like, I don't think my 6-year-old will be using these, and possibly ever. So jumping back, we'll start off taking a look at Outlook. Notice that as I do click on any of these applications, typically they'll open in a new tab, and this will allow me to switch back and forwards between the applications that I have open. There's also a little application chooser from the top here. So again, we've got another way to quickly switch between applications. But here we are in Outlook for the time being. And first thing I noticed straight away is we do actually have an email from my daughter's teacher. So that's very nice. And this means that if I want to send an email to that teacher, it's very easy for me to do. I can just give a click on the teacher's name, and there's a button that says send email, and away I go. But what if you go into yours and you notice that there are no emails there? You've got to figure out what your teacher's email address is. Well, in that case, if we click on new message and then click on to, I'm presented with a list of contact groups, and the one that I'm going to be particularly interested in is the one which has my school name inside of. This will present a list of contacts from that school. All Wales GAL and All Wales not going to be so useful. It's going to be the Sennybridge CP school in this case. And if I do know my teacher's surname, I can type that in, and those contact groups will be filtered down. Now, the email addresses in Sennybridge at least seem to be in the form of the surname and then the initial of the first name followed by some sort of number. I have noticed looking through the contacts list, there do seem to be more than one for some surnames. So you might have to take a guess essentially, or send a couple of quick emails to ask are you the right person. But assuming that I have found the email contact that I want, I'll click to add them as a recipient, and there's no OK button down the bottom here. We just simply click the close button in the top, and recipients added to the to field. From this point on, we can add a subject, body content, and then click send, and so on. Now I'm not going to do that. We'll just come out. We've got those in drafts. We can delete emails from the draft folder, and that'll do for now. Coming back then, let's have a look at OneDrive next. Now, as I said earlier, this is where all of our documents are ultimately going to be saved into. If I jump into OneDrive, We can see that we do have a couple of documents in here already, some Word documents, there's a PowerPoint slide there, and another document on typing some Welsh characters. We might come back to that in a few minutes. We can open our documents from here, but also you probably noticed from the Microsoft Office Home tab, we do have a list of recent documents presented down the bottom, so we can jump straight into any of those if we want to. If we wanted to delete a file from OneDrive, hover over top of the file that you'd like to delete, click the little three dot button there, and then you can choose delete. Moving on then, let's take a look at Word. Now, the top new section gives us the opportunity to open a brand new blank document, or we can open a document based on a number of predefined templates. We can even get hold of more templates if we want to. Recently opened documents will be listed underneath, and there may be a document shared with us from the teacher, so perhaps some coursework that we've got to do. Nothing there at the moment, however. So let's go ahead and create a brand new blank document. And what we find is a user interface that's very, very similar to the normal Office desktop application. We have a ribbon interface separated into a series of tabs, broken down into the different sections that we might want to use, and under each and any tab we'll find various options. So under the Home tab, for instance, we can change the font that we're currently using. We can change the font size, choose bold, italic or underline. We can highlight, change the font color, and so on and so forth. Underneath Insert, we've got the opportunity to add pictures and so on. And if I choose to add a picture, we can either add a picture from our current device, allowing us to go and find a picture, or we can search for a picture using Bing Images. Let's find a picture of a cat. Oh. That image gets inserted for us. We can resize, and we can even rotate as well. So very much like the normal Word application. What I will say, what I've noticed is that all documents by default, at least on this system, seem to be opened in English US. So the proofing tools, spell checker, grammar checker, aren't ideally and optimally set up for us. If I type in some text with some problems, we notice that color spelt with a U using these default settings gets highlighted as a typo. We can right click and correct if we want to, but actually that's the correct spelling. So in this case, what I'm going to do is select the text I've got chosen here, click down at the bottom in the status bar where it says English US, and I'm going to choose English UK instead. And now we notice that color without the U is correctly highlighted as the typo. Interesting. Why do you think that is incorrect? Ah, repeated word. Jumping back to the ribbon for a moment, you may not be familiar with this style of interface, particularly if you've been using older versions of Office. There is the opportunity to switch to an older style ribbon using a little chevron on the side here. So you may find that a little bit more comfortable, familiar to use. Another change from older releases of the desktop Office suite is that there is no save button. In fact, whatever we do is saved automatically for us. If we want to change the name of the document, then up in the header section here, we can change that. And that's how you just rename a document. The file menu does give you the opportunity to also rename your document there as well. And we can save a copy. We can download a copy for our use offline, create a PDF, and you can also choose print if you want to print your document. Choosing print will create a PDF file, which we'll need to open. and then we'll use our browser's user interface to actually print that. Earlier, I switched from using US to UK English. It's gone back to US because I deleted all the text that's in there. Again, one of the first things you probably want to do when creating a new blank document is switch this to UK. My daughter, as I mentioned in the last video, is in the Welsh stream, so we can choose Welsh here as well. And spell check, etc. works as you might want. As you no doubt know, some Welsh characters have accents above them, and the normal way that I'd say to people to add those accents is to go to insert and then symbol, and perhaps more symbols, but I do note in here that unfortunately things like the Y with the circumflex on top isn't actually available. You want a workaround for that? You can open up Windows Characters Map, and in here you can go and find the character that you're after. There we are, Y with the circumflex. Double click, copy, and then I'm going to use Control V to paste that in. There is a faster way to do this as well. If you have the Welsh language pack installed on your system, you can switch to typing Welsh characters directly. And then you can press the Alt-GR key, 6, which has the circumflex above it, let go, and follow up with the Y key, and that will type in directly for you. Some of the things that may be useful, particularly if we are working remotely and we need to collaborate, perhaps the teacher needs to write some notes on our document, we'll have a look at the references, or sorry, the review section in here. And we can select text, we can add some comments, where have we got it? Yeah, new comment is there. And you can do @mentions. So by typing if you've been communicating with your teacher's email address will pop up there, and that should notify them of your comment. I won't do that. We'll just write something like, I might delete this. And then these comments are noted in the sideline there. So even if you've got the comment section closed, you'll notice a little speech bubble. We can click that to bring the comment out. Alternatively, there's a comment section along the top. Some of the things that we can do with the review tools is track changes over time. So from track changes, I can choose, let's track changes for everyone. This is added. I delete some text. You'll notice that it's not actually deleted. It's just marked for deletion with the strike through. Then later on, we can go through and accept or reject those changes. So I can accept and the deletion takes place, or I can reject. And we finished reviewing this particular document. Just jumping back home for a moment, there's one more thing that's quite nice. In Office Web, there's the ability to perform dictation. So from the little drop down, I'm going to choose English UK, select Dictate, and make sure that I have my microphone selected. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Full stop. New paragraph. My name is Stephen, comma. How are you? Question mark. So that's dictation. Obviously I've still got track changes on. Probably should have turned those off beforehand. I'm at least going to need to accept those. Translation is available as well. I just noticed up in the top corner here. So we can translate this section. And I think Welsh is an option in here, although I'm not entirely convinced the translation is all that great, but it might be passable. Okay, and I think we're done with Word. I'll close that, come out. Actually, let's go back into Office 365. And there's my demo document there ready for use. Again, I can just perform a click to go back in. Moving on to Excel then. Again, if you've used Microsoft Office, everything will be pretty much familiar for you here. We can create a new spreadsheet, enter some data in cells, enter usual formulas. So summing cell 1 and 2 up together, and it just pretty much works as expected. Again, you can have the collapsed view of the ribbon, if that's what you prefer. Or you can pin it. It looks like we're sticking with the traditional Office ribbon interface in Excel. It hasn't been updated as yet to the newer one. Again, inside of Excel, you'll find that things are automatically saved for you, and you can change the name of the file at the top here. Let's switch to PowerPoint. Once again, PowerPoint gives us the option of creating a new blank presentation, but typically that's not the way that we create presentations in PowerPoint. We normally want to base them on a pre-existing theme. We have a few shown in the top, but we also have access to more themes and even more themes. We can click this link down the bottom, explore all templates and themes, and this will take us to an external website, Microsoft's Office.com website, where we can have a look through and see if we can find a presentation theme that we like. Give it a little click, and then choose to edit in browser. Continue, and that theme is loaded into PowerPoint Online, ready for us to use. As before with Excel and Word, changes that we make are saved automatically for us, and if we want to change the name of the presentation, we can do so from the top bar. We have an option of using either the simplified ribbon, this smaller style ribbon, or a more traditional Office ribbon. If that's what we're more comfortable with. I'll switch back to the simplified ribbon. So with our basic theme template loaded up for our presentation, we can then go in and start editing it. If we want new slides, we can right click one of the slides, choose new slide, and a new slide gets inserted for us ready to use. We can change the style of this by right clicking again, going to layout, and this is some of the theme's built-in templates. If we don't have enough text boxes available to us on our particular slide, we can always add one as well from the Insert tab. There we go, and that's added ready for us to use. From the Shape tab, you can change the style of the text box. It's not very visible, let's pick something else. There we go, and we can rotate as well if you want to. If we'd like this text box to fly into view when we switch to this tab in presentation mode, then we can jump to animations. Currently it's not animated, we will do fly in, and from options we'll fly in from the bottom right corner. We might also want to change transitions between one slide and another. So looking at this, default transition is none. It'll just simply flick over. So let's jump into presentation mode and see how this looks at the moment. I'm just going to use the mouse wheel to move between slides. No, I'm not, since that doesn't work on the web version. We're going to use the right arrow key. Press right again, and in comes my text box. But notice that the slides just flick between one and another. Perhaps we want a little bit of a smoother transition. So choosing transition, let's do, I don't know, fade. And try this again. Let's go back to the beginning. And then, yes, as we transition to slide number 2, it nicely fades. Press the right key and in comes the text box. Review tools are available as before, so we can add comments, use the @ sign to shout out to our teacher and so on and ask for help. While editing, I see we're now at just over 22 minutes, which I think is quite long enough for this session. Perhaps we'll return to installing Office 365 for offline use in a later video. For now though, thanks for watching. I hope it's been useful.